Hi, Steve.
Hi, Jim.
Hey, I've got an interesting factoid for you. As of the
Yeah.
recording of today's episode, chronologically speaking, did you know that we are now closer to the year 2050 than we are the year 2000?
Huh. And here I thought this was going to be a fun episode, and now it just sounds downright depressing. And hello and welcome to two guys talking about records and thinking about the future already, or maybe just a slight part of the past this week. But my name is Steve, and I am a record collector.
And my name is Jim, and I own a record store. And if you stop and think about it, Steve, that is a true statement. Because we're past mid June in the year 2025, we're now closer to the year 2050 than we were that millennium. I still remember what I was doing on New Year's Eve, 1999 into 2000. I was sitting at home with our young daughter.
It's just like 2025 couldn't be that long ago. I mean, it could. I mean, 2020.
Yeah,
Oh my God, the beginning of the century could not have been that long ago, and now it's just a quarter of a century. That's
yeah,
sad.
it is.
Wow.
So if you folks
Wow.
haven't guessed, today Steve and I are, well, we're feeling the age a little bit and the progression of this century so far. We were lucky enough to be part of the last century and the last century's music. And now we're headlong into this century. I mean, it's moving so fast. And then we got thinking, Steve had brought this up a while ago, saying, a lot of great music in the 2000s. And it's like, well, crap, we're a quarter century in the 2000s already. So where do we go from here musically? Holy smokes, it's going quick.
Yeah. Yes, it is, and so much more to come.
It is. And so that really got us thinking about narrowing this down. Okay, so great. We talk a lot about music from the 60s and 70s and 80s and into the 90s as well, but there's a lot of stuff and we cover this in normally in the recent pickups,
Hmm.
but the from the year 2000 through currently 2025, I don't think we dig into that too much in the main section of the program here.
No, we don't. In fact, a lot of videos I watch don't. But when I began thinking about this, I have an incredible amount of albums from this century, especially since when I restarted the collection, all that older stuff, a lot of it I just never brought back. And a focus is more what is happening now within the music. And I mean, I'm always blown away every year by just so many great albums that come out.
To prep for this week's episode, I think I did, hopefully, what you did too. I just went into my Discogs collection and then rearranged it by release year. And then just going through that, backwards from the most current release year on down, filtered out things like compilations or reissues, of which there are plenty of current reissues. No shortage of reissues out these days. And
Yeah.
just kind of narrowed it down to new releases, whether it be from a new artist or whether it be from, in some cases, the ones I picked out are from established artists that go back into the 80s and some of
Hmm.
their newer releases now, and talk about what we think of that.
Yeah. I've been working on this for a month now. And and even today before we started, I was still switching stuff around. I'm still just, well, wait, I think I like this one better than this because again, folks, these aren't the greatest albums. These are our favorite albums. I mean, obviously they're the greatest because they're our favorite. So I mean, that's just what more is there to be said about that? But yeah, it keeps changing. And I actually started, Jim. I didn't use disc guys. I'm just going, okay, this is the one I always listen to. I always listen to this. And I began pulling the stuff that I go back to constantly.
There you go.
Obviously,
So
that's a favorite.
they are the greatest. You mentioned last week that yes, we do prep and do a little research for this, and I asked AI, our Grok AI, about some of the best and the best albums. I didn't limit it to rock. If I'd have done that, it's been there. It's
Mhm.
just the best albums from the year 2000 through the current 220, 2025. And Grok spit a ton of stuff out there, of which I have zero. I mean, we're talking there. They put Beyonce in there. There's Taylor Swift in there, and a couple of hip hop artists and things of that nature. And there were some other ones I forget were in there, but yeah, not necessarily today's discussion is going to take us down that road of the road of critically acclaimed or best selling, because you and I are a product of a different time, and sometimes the newer stuff resonates, i.e., one of the first ones we'll get to, and a lot of times it doesn't. But I think you're a lot more open to this. I had a little bit of a rough time putting together my list. I've got quite a few things. I like them, but it's not a go-to often, like you said with you. There are a few that are quick and easy go-tos when I want to put something on, though.
Yeah, yeah, I am. I just it has to be an album that I smile when I put on,
Yep.
and that's what I'm looking for. And I'm smiling not because I have gas or something. I'm just like, oh, this is good stuff.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
As we do each and every week, sharing wise, not what Steve's talking about there, but we like to share with you folks our most recent pickups and additions into the collection. And looking at mine, yeah, these are older. So the ones I've got this week are older, but what do you have this week? Do you have a decent week coming in so far?
I do. Well, it's not a lot this week. Really, not much. I checked out a brand new record store this week,
Saw
and
that
in
video.
there, I found Circle Jerks Group Sex, and so I have no Circle Jerks. This is their debut album, I believe, from '81, I think, and it has, what is it? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 songs, and each side takes about 8 minutes. So 7 songs and 8 minutes on each side. It's kind of like you could say an EP, but it is just the full length album. But it's that hardcore punk of the early '80s.
It's pretty much the opposite of normal punk, where the songs are a minute or less in some cases.
Yeah. This is, I mean, the very first song is like 35 seconds long, but they just got what they needed to say out real quickly, and let's move on to the next. And you don't get any solos whatsoever.
No,
so
plowing through.
So we have that one. Then our friend Chance, he sent me this, and it's Amos Lee. And this is a reissue. This album came out earlier in the century, 2011. It came out. It's how to describe it? Almost not folk, rock, maybe. Boy, it's softer, but
modern folkish type stuff there.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. Americana's probably would be the closest thing that, which is modern folk, isn't it? Basically, beautiful sounding album. Really been enjoying this. This is one of his favorite albums, and so he sent this my way, and it even got my Vinyl Community Podcast sticker there. Cool. The plural of vinyl is vinyl. Okay, you can't see it. So that's pretty cool. My sticker came out. And then finally, I saw this reissue. I didn't know this reissue had come out. Utah Saints. The hottest band in the land, the Utah Saints. Bada, bada, bida, bada. I love this album. I mean, this is like 92. This is when dance was really taking off in the UK, and the Utah Saints were a huge part of it. They didn't put out a lot of stuff, but this is, you put this on and you're out of your, it's exciting. I don't have glow sticks or anything like that. I don't have any ecstasy, which I think most people were on when they did this, but I saw that. I go, oh my God. I had a few Utah Saints and CDs. I loved them. And and this has What Can You Do For Me, which was huge, and Something Good. Both just phenomenal. So I was super excited to get this. So
I'm just trying to picture you at a blacklight rave.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, boy, that'll be awkward. So that's That's all I got for this week. I
Okay.
have some stuff I think on order, and I know I got a package from you coming.
Yep.
So
Tracking with
yeah,
there's a lot of goodies in that package. That
all right,
I think that's the package of stuff that we picked up at the secret spot in the Upper Peninsula a few weeks back.
that's
I'm
right,
finally getting over to you, so
exactly.
you're gonna have to censor one of those album covers.
Yeah, I'm really good at that. Okay.
Well, I just have a couple of pickups this week as well. Nothing huge, just a couple of interesting things. First off, to the Michigan collection we go, and I have got a copy of Mozart's Requiem, and
Huh.
this one in particular, performed by the Land Symphonic Choral Society and the Lansing Chamber Orchestra. So this comes out of Lansing, Michigan, our state's capital, and recorded they're processed, I'm sorry, at the studios of Lansing Community College. So yeah, this is just it's a real nice version of Requiem. Gave this a listen. I've got to give it a better cleaning. There's a couple of pops and clicks that I'm going to try to
Yeah.
work out of it. This also came with, I mean, for a self-produced smaller thing, it came with a nice little insert that lists the members of the chamber orchestra and the Land Symphonic Society inside. Looks like a yearbook photo almost in through here. So it's kind of,
Autographs.
yeah, there we go. It's starting to bringing them in. So yeah, it's kind of a neat little ad. The thing is that this is not in Discogs, but you know how much I enjoy. I love putting stuff into Discogs,
Yeah.
so I will get that into Discogs here in the next couple of
Yeah.
days, and we'll put that in.
Yeah. Wasn't Requiem like one of his last things that he produced? He was kind of going nutsy in that, just having a hard time. And
I'm gonna have to go back and watch Amadeus and see where that
yeah,
stands.
I think he
Rewatch it.
struggled trying to get that one done really hard, and
Yeah.
it's definitely a little darker
Yes.
of his music. Yeah.
Secondly, speaking of dark, this one is pretty much the opposite thereof. I've
Okay.
got a copy of Ernie Wilkins and his orchestra. Ernie Wilkinson and his orchestra doing the Hard Mother Blues. This is one of those fun records. It's an instrumental. 1970, Discogs calls it Jazz Funk Soul. But what it really is you know, the kind of the instrumental interpretations that they did
Mhm.
in that rock era, where there are a lot of the earlier orchestral conductors and big band music were struggling to get into the newer age jazz, but instead latched on to popular music and then just gave their own interpretations instrumentally. That's what this is from Ernie Wilkins.
You
It's
know, I
yeah,
you and Daryl just need to go out shopping. You need to go to Canada, get with Daryl, and go out record
pick up
shopping.
in
My
through there.
God.
This has got okay. First off, the only name I recognize on the personnel and instrumentation, and there's a lot of them on here. The only one I recognize is Hubert Laws, who is a jazz artist in amongst himself. So he probably was with Ernie Wilkins. But they've got covers on here of Evil Ways, Midnight Hour, Dock of the Bay, Respect, Funky Broadway. A couple of, I think, originals from Wilkins, one called Bigfoot Country, another one in there. And then Willie Dixon's Spoonful, which, you know, is a just real slow, just driving blues song unto itself. Now picture that funkified a little bit with the Hammond organ and some brass thrown in. You've got Ernie Wilkins and the Hard Mother Blues.
Well, I'm
It's
glad you got that, Jim.
it's fun. It's not going to be a go-to. And finally, well, until I send it to you as VLCT. Finally on the list, I saw this in one of our distributors, and I ordered one for the store and one for me to open up. And I used to have, I don't know, I did have an album from the Stone Roses, but I don't remember. I had a lot of 12 inches. I was working the
Mhm.
radio. They sent me 12-inch promos. And I really regret getting rid of those because the Stone Roses stuff, OG Stone Roses, is worth a lot, even the
Yeah.
12-inch stuff. So what I picked up was the very best of the Stone Roses. Nice little double LP compilation. And yeah, the album reissues from the Stone Roses are out there, but it's one of those things where I think that a greatest hits in the case of the Stone Roses, for me now, thinking about it, this is one of those groups that I'm very happy to have a greatest hits, especially a double LP version of. So, I mean, you've got all their biggies on here. I Want to Be Adored, She Bangs the Drum. What the World is Waiting For, favorite song of mine off of there. Sally Cinnamon, Fool's Gold, another great song, and a bunch of other ones. Steve, I put this on the turntable, and it's like comfort food on your
Is it? Yeah.
turntable. It's, the Stone Roses for me have always been a band. I never talked a lot about them, but they've just been one of those bands where you put their stuff on and you're just like, yeah, this is cool. It's got those. The beats are there, but they're not in your face. They're just a nice, good, solid. It's kind of that bridge between college radio alternative and newer dance music, I guess. I don't know
Yeah.
how you would best describe that.
When that first came out, I bought the CD because all the hype, everything you read. So this is the greatest thing in the world.
Yep.
And I buy it, I put it on, I go, huh, okay, I don't get it. And it took maybe 30 years for me to finally, and I bought the vinyl last year, and I put it on and go, damn, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this a lot. It just took me a lot of decades to get into it.
Did you get the comp like this one? This is a 2006, I think, press.
No, I got the first album. To me, I just thought, if you have the first album, you got the Stone Roses.
Yeah. And I thought about that too with getting some reissues, but then I saw this. I'm like, no, this will cover it, because then I just got the 2 records, which has got the other stuff, the songs that I really do enjoy. But no, I dig them, and it's good finding them again. And you go back and you think about the regrets, and I probably shouldn't have gotten rid of the albums. I think I had an old 80s colored vinyl version of one, and it's like, oh, they're through the roof right now.
Yeah, you don't know. You just don't know.
Nope.
Right?
Well, as we do each and every week with our pickups and forward into the episode with all the stuff that we'll be talking about, we'll put together a Spotify playlist. We're trying to avoid the copyright police. Oh, I have an update on that. Hang on a second. But so we'll put together this Spotify playlist so you folks can click in and listen to the music of the things that we're talking about. You'll find that playlist link in the description of both the YouTube episode and the Spotify episode. And I think I tossed it up on the Two Guys Talking About Records Facebook page as well. So I think you need a Spotify account, and if not, maybe you can kind of listen to it and they'll play some commercials, but at least you'll get an idea of what it is that we're listening to. So check that out when you get a chance.
Yeah. I got banned in Russia again on my video today.
I saw that. Just the copyright police, so you never can tell. Maybe it was something you put in there, but
pop Pink Floyd on there. Russia's just not into Pink Floyd, I guess. Putin is not a Pink Floyd fan.
Well, I'll stop. I was going to say something nasty about Roger's current attitude fitting in with but let's not go there. The update I wanted to give copyright wise, remember a couple of weeks back, and I don't have it here in front of me, but I put that, I mentioned the space thing, the Alan Shepard space flight I put up there that had been tagged for a copyright because of the countdown. It was an actuality from the NASA countdown, or CBS used. Cypress Hill had used it in a song, and it flagged it as a copyright, saying, hey, this is Cypress Hill. I fought it with YouTube and said, no, this is not Cypress Hill. They sampled it from this record that I want to put up there. And after a month, I guess Cypress Hill or whoever runs their catalog stuff now didn't bother to respond to Pitiful Little Me. And so it just reverted saying, fine, go ahead. There's no copyright restrictions on it. So I fought the law, and the law won on that one, Steve. And I put that Alan Shepard one up on our YouTube channel. It's not getting many views, but I just wanted to have it up there because it looked unique and interesting. I didn't expect to get into a little tussle with Cypress Hill over a countdown from the 1960s.
Way to go. You took it to him, Jim. Awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Something from that long ago? That's Cypress Hill. No, it wasn't. Cypress Hill stole it. They need to pay Alan Shepard or something.
CBS News, which I would have understood. If CBS had filed a copyright, I probably went, yeah, okay, I get it. From that long ago, Steve, that was even longer ago than the year 2000, wasn't it?
But I was alive, so I remember it.
Well, I mentioned earlier, I remember the year 2000. Everybody was hyped up. The millennium's coming. Our computers are going to rise up and take the world down on that overnight when the clock strikes midnight. And what a big fat lot of nothing that was. My wife, Kim, was working. She was still working television news at the time. So she had to be at the station and was there, and I stayed home that night with our young daughter, Katie at the time. She was only a couple of years old, and just kind of rang in the new year, and it went by, and there were no planes falling out of the sky. I thought, oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Okay, yeah, the year 2000. Wouldn't thought I made it here, but
It
here we
was
are.
pretty much Armageddon. Everyone was playing Princess 1999,
Yeah,
getting ready to end it all.
a party like it. And now here we are, a quarter of a century after that. And holy smokes, you think about how music changed from when we started collecting, in the 70s and 80s and through there, and or listening to it rather, and collecting heavier, and for me in the 80s and 90s. And the amount of growth that music went through, especially rock music, from the Beatles and Stones, started going back to Elvis, the older blues artist as well. And then I get thinking, okay, well, where have we gone in the past 25 years? We're into this big anniversary where we're in the 50th anniversary now from stuff coming from the 70s. It'll be 50th anniversary from the 80s pretty
Yeah.
soon. But, we're already seeing stuff that's 25 years old coming from the year 2000. And it got us thinking, it's like there's been a lot of music that has flown through in this past quarter century that's moving too fast. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it has. And as usual, you see things that make a resurgence. Like,
Yeah.
when I think of uh, there's just a variety of genres that come back, like shoegaze that had like a 2 year reign back in the early '90s. Didn't last long, but now it's expanded out there, and so many bands have jumped on it. Dream pop, things like that, and it's just they put their own take on it, which is interesting.
I've always felt that there was at least like a 20-year, a 2-decade lag in the retro look and feel. If you think about it, into the
Yeah.
70s and 80s, you had the likes of Grease being very, very big. So here we are in the 70s disco era, and they're trying to revive and relive the music of the 50s. And then you get into the 80s. I mean, culturally, even speaking, too, I try to remember what years, Happy Days is a television show. You get into that 70s show, which was, I think it was in the 90s. So you
Hmm.
still got that kind of a 20-year
Yep.
curve. I don't think that really holds true anymore. And I don't know exactly why that would be, culturally speaking, whether it's music or movie or television. I think everything's kind of fair game going back or forward or current as far as where it goes. But I see what you mean as far as, okay, there are some of these that are feeling a resurgence, but then you get to, one of the groups we're going to talk about today again is Wet Leg, and we've talked about that group a lot before, where I think they're kind of an amalgamation, maybe a combination of a lot of other stylings that are bringing it in
Hmm.
and giving it its own modern take and flair. I can't say that it's
Yeah.
punk, I can't say that it's pop, I can't say that it's dance, I can't say that it's indie rock. I can just say it's Wet Leg. It is the
Yeah.
2020s.
Which is exciting when groups can do that because it's not easy. Generally they're out there, they're getting inspired by something from the past. And that's where I think oftentimes you get that 20-year lag because it hasn't been around, but yet they're listening. They go, God, this is so good. We need to get that vibe going. So they go in the studio and tell the producers, this is the vibe we're looking for.
And sometimes they capture it well, and a lot of times I don't feel they do,
Mhm.
and it works and it
Exactly.
doesn't work. But let's go back through the past 25 years. It feels very bizarre to say that, Steve. Let's go back to the year 2000, but I think we'll go reverse chronological. So let's work our way back down the ladder. We're already up there, and I'm standing on my tiptoes at the very peak of that ladder in 2025. You're holding on to it and hoping that I don't fall down when I'm working on that. So I'm going to start working down slowly. But, since I mentioned it, let's go ahead. 2025 and the new Wet Leg album. We'll get to these guys again because in a couple years down, their other one, Moisturizer, I think is an album. The more I listen to it, the more I feel I'm getting into it. I'm enjoying
Yeah.
this a lot more. And we've talked about this, so I don't want to rehash our older episodes, but I'm enjoying this a lot more than I did prior to the release with a couple of the singles that they put out. So,
Agreed.
obviously I'm playing it in the store, and, we got a couple copies still that we're selling. So that's giving me a little bit more exposure to it as I'm trying to put that through there. But that's one of those bands that I think are forging, as we just said, they're forging their own sound by building upon the things of the past. And relatively speaking, this is a new band. If you look back just, 2 or 3 years for their debut album
Mhm.
that just hit with that smash, they're new. And I think that for them to stand out, for me at least, as a collector, the store side is another story, but for me as a collector, for me to want to add something this new that I'm excited about is kind of, for me,
Yeah.
that's, I don't want to say that I'm the catch all get all of music gurus, because I'm not, but I enjoy this. And for me, that says a lot for me to put this in, saying I dig something like this.
Yeah. How have sales been pretty good on that?
Initially, yes, they've slowed itself down a little
Yeah.
bit, and I just have,
Sure.
I think, one other copy. It goes, and that's kind of the way it is with a smaller store like ours. So,
Yep.
before I
Exactly.
dig further backwards in time, I think prior to us setting up, we talked that you said most of your stuff was from the early 2000s, right?
I actually I went through and I put some. I got some from 2024. I have a few things from the last couple years.
Okay, good. Because I was going to say I've got one, two from three from 25. So let me get through those
All
first,
right. Yep.
and then we'll dig into the 24s. Next one from 25, a little bit earlier in this. It's Envy of None and their Stygian Waves. This is the second album from the group Envy of None. Alex Lifeson from Rush is the guitarist, and it sounds absolutely nothing like Rush. If you're thinking that you're going to get a Rush album out of this, it is not going to be the case. It's got that dreamy, in a way, I'll say, okay, maybe it's a little bit like the Wet Leg, where there's a female vocalist and you get kind of this dream pop vibe out of it, but you do
Hmm.
recognize Alex Lifeson's guitar in there. It's very synthy, which again for Lifeson surprises me that that's part of where he wanted to go with it. But it's still a very cool album, and I've been digging this. Their first album I think was good, but this one stepped it up for that group from earlier in 25. My other one from 2025, and it's again surprising that I was able to pull so many from this year, is from an artist that's been around a long time and still somehow manages to come up with some decent stuff. And I'm talking about Bob Mould here.
Sure.
You go back to his earlier solo stuff, the stuff that he did with Sugar. I just absolutely love the Sugar stuff, and then all the way back to
Yeah.
Husker Du and the punk, and Husker Du was late 70s, early 80s, and you get into that stuff. So, but this is Bob Mould's one from earlier this year. Here We Go Crazy. I think I got a nice little colored vinyl version of that. It came out really neat.
Hmm.
Not a go-to often, but when I do play this, I like it. It's just good, solid rock from Bob Mould. I have a
Yeah.
blast with it.
Yep. He's consistent.
That's a good way to put it. Yes, but again, consistent over that long period of time, I think says something.
Yes. Yeah, it
So
does.
I'm ready to go to 2024. But if you want to kick off with your 24 stuff here, see
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
got.
I actually didn't have anything for 2025. I'm still haven't figured out my go-tos here, but from 2024, I have the Orb, and this is Talisman Bend. Yep, Talem Bend, I guess, out of Australia. And it is a psych band, hard psych. But on this album, they stretched it out. There is actually almost there's one song that sounds like it could have been the Beatles or
Hmm.
from the 60s. It has that kind of feel. Then they change it up. There was like a little 70s progressive in some of the music. It's such an interesting album because they take some different detours from the heavy psych. And believe me, there is some really good heavy psych on this album. But I was blown away by it last year. I thought, gosh, darn it, this is great stuff, and it's still just one that I definitely always will put on just to really really enjoy. And yeah, for those of you that like psych but also funky grooves, man, these guys they lay down some jams and they go. So really great album from 2024 that can't get enough of.
Is that the same Orb that worked with David Gilmour? Different
No,
Orb?
nope. This is O.R.B. And
Gotcha.
so out of Australia, yes, there is that orb, which I like that orb. I'd like to get little fluffy clouds, but you just can't find. I mean, you got to go to the UK, and that stuff costs $1 billion now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Little Fluffy Clouds is such a cool song from the early 90s from Orb. Same time as Utah Saints, by God, Jim.
Oh my. Electronic-y.
Yep. All right, what do you got?
Also from 24 for me, this was kind of an interesting one. I didn't think I'd like it. You talked about it And this is The Cure and their Songs of a Lost World LP from 24. Uh, we had this in the store, and I neglected to open one up for the longest time. We sold quite a few copies, and then I finally had a couple of extras and one that did not move, and so I opened it up and gave it a little bit more of a listen than I did just to a couple of the online clips. I've got the gray marbled version of it, and it sounds a lot like the older Cure, which I think in some ways is good. Maybe Smith decided that for his new album he wanted to go backwards in time a little bit and give fans a little more of what they expected out of a Cure album. But it's a decent record, and from an older band, and I'm happy to have that in the collection on that.
Yeah.
Also from 24, this one, no surprise here. I'll just toss the 24 and the 2000. It's kind of a tie. 2019 in on this, and this is the Billy Strings album. There's a lot of other Billy Strings coming into age on his own in the late 2000 teens. Really kind of breaking it through. But Highway Prayers from Billy Strings, the one that he released in 24, and Home from 2019. Modern bluegrass at its absolute best. We've talked about this, and I've kind of touted on this a lot over the past few episodes. I know you've got at least that Tinfoil and Turmoil in your collection as well, but some really cool stuff that I enjoy, and that's the 2024 stuff. I've got one more. Let me see. There's one more from 2024 before I go to 2023. And I'll be danged, Steve, it's another bluegrass album. I don't know what the deal is with that. And I mentioned this a few weeks back, and that's the Bella Fleck. It's bluegrass, but it's classical. But this is the Bella Fleck doing Rhapsody in Blue, the Gershwin tune, or the Gershwin music, calling it Rhapsody in Bluegrass on one of them. But still cool. I do enjoy putting this on. I can't play it a lot in the store because I don't have another copy to sell, so I have to kind of enjoy this in my downtimes. But that gets me through 24. We still have 23 years to go now. It may move faster because I drop off once we start getting through the mid 2015s here, I think.
All right. Well, we'll go 2021.
Oh, wait, and then I do have a 23. If you're going to 21, let me go to 23 real quick.
Okay.
23 and 22. Let me kick these out. This is neat. This is Goose and Dripfield. It is just kind of a dream trance type music that I don't know if you've been into Goose much at all. They just released a newer album. I even forget the name of it. I tried listening to a few of that, and I didn't capture for me the spirit of what Dripfield would put out there. So I just thoroughly enjoy this. It's jam band, but it's a little trippy. It's a little pop psych type stuff. But I do get a kick out of that. I've already mentioned Wet Leg, and this goes back to 2022 and their debut album with probably the catchiest tune of the past 25 years in Shay's Lounge. It'll get stuck in your head for some time. And then
that one's probably going to be on my list when I do the 25. Yeah.
Okay, when you get to your personal, you get there. So that was 2022. And let me get to the one more 2022. And just because Larry McRae is probably one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. He is a mid-Michigan native from the Saginaw area. This is his 2022 album, Blues Without You. Just double LP of just fantastic, good slide guitar blues and electric guitar blues from Larry. Just a very cool blues album. Okay, that takes me through 2022.
So 2021 is Moby's Reprise. This blown away. Now, Moby takes some of his stuff from the 90s. He went on to Deutsche Grammophon, and they made the most beautiful, incredible album where they took this music. But there's also new ones. He does Heroes from David Bowie on here. It is beautiful. I mean, just amazing. He does a Neil Young song on here. He does Lonely Night with Mark Langan and Chris Christopherson.
Wow.
This is such a wonderful, gorgeous album. I just, kudos to him. And he did another one a couple years later, but this is my favorite of the Moby that he did when he went to Deutsche Grammophon. Truly a gorgeous album. He took those original hits that were huge it made them better. And that you usually don't ever see done. But yeah, the symphonic that was added, but the guest vocalists were crazy good. So really good stuff.
And that's 2021.
That's 2021. I have 2020. Do you have 2020?
I have a 2020. Go ahead and hit your 2020, and then I'll put my
All right,
only
I'll
one
hit
in.
my.
My
Okay,
only
so
one
for
in from
20,
that year.
I just popped this one in today. Again, I'm changing my list constantly. This is the debut album from Gary Olson. Now, Gary Olson's been around for a long time, over 25 years. Transistor Radio. I can't think of his group. It was a smaller group that he's been on. Um, this is pop, but it's softer, it's quieter, but his voice is just beautiful. He has a softer type of a voice happening. Uh, it's not easy listening, but it is so relaxing. And it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. He does play the trumpet on there, and his trumpet tone is phenomenally good. But it's just very comfortable music. You just put it on, you go, wow, this is nice. You could sit and listen to it, at a concert and just feel really good. Yeah, this has been out as I've been making this list, and I keep putting this back on and go, damn, I like that album a lot. Maybe it's one of my favorites.
I looked it up while you were talking. The Ladybug Transistor. Does that sound right?
That's it. Ladybug Transistor. Man, you're fast. Wow.
There we go. 2020 also. This one is an interesting one because it's one of those ones that you look at the cover and you're not quite sure that what it's gonna be, and then you listen to it and it's like, okay, I get it, and through there. But yeah, from 2020, this may have been a 2019 when the music came out, but the pressing was 2020 that I've got, and that's the Black Pumas. So you've got modern soul music on this one, where they're really kind of reliving that old 60s, 70s soul sound, but again, giving it a really more modern take on it. This is the double LP version of their Black Pumas, the 1 year anniversary. So yeah, this would have been 2019. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun on it, but the 2020 version of Black Pumas that came with a second album of covers. So you've got the first record in there that's got all their stuff on there, which is just fantastic soul music, and then you've got them covering in their vein and in their style. Fast Car, the Tracy Chapman song, is on here. What else was on there? There's the bonus 7-inch with Eleanor Rigby. I forgot about that, was in there as well. But what's really cool is that they have got a cover of Politicians in My Eyes from the Detroit punk trio Death. If you remember that, the documentary, a band called Death. The guys were driving. They were punk before it was punk. I mean, right around the time of Iggy Pop. But this is really kind of a funkified, slow jam, soul version of Politicians in My Eyes, which just works, and it works great. I'm hoping that one's on Spotify so I can put that in the playlist for everybody to hear. So, okay, 2020, 2019 is where that kicked for me. You have any from 19, or are you going back a little further?
You're going to have to wait till 16.
16, holy smokes. Well, in looking at mine, I just have one from 2019, and then I'm coming down the pipe on this. I've got a few albums from Sturgill Simpson, more of his more bluegrass or more modern country stuff. This one, though, Sound and Fury from 2019, is rock. This is a concept album of sorts. It's just, those of you who know Sturgill Simpson from his, let me call this up here, from his more bluegrass or more modern country stuff, this is just, and even the album's cool. The artwork is very cool on there. Sound and Fury is by no doubt a rock album that just kicks it out. And it's got heavy parts, it's got more mellow parts, but it's just all good sounding rock music that you wouldn't think coming from Sturgill. So I've got this on my list of lots of I go to this quite often. And as I mentioned, I do have a couple of his other ones. He's got a concept album called The Ballad of Dude and Juanita, which is a really neat country album as well. But even I forget what one of the later ones are that I've got. But this one is definitely a go-to on Sound and Fury for me. And that takes me through the teens. with the exception of
He's
one down to
actually very
14.
hard to classify in your collection because, well, that's rock. Do I put it in the rock? Oh, that's country. Do I put? I mean, what do you do with the guy?
You
You know,
do.
tough.
The passage for your passage du jour or something like that was one of his later ones, which is kind of also that bridge. It's not straight up bluegrass like Dude and Juanita, and it's not rock like Sound and
Hmm.
Fury. It's kind of that middle ground between them. But
Yeah,
I agree. It's classifying the Sturgill stuff is tough.
yeah. I got 3 albums from him. Very good. Well, 2016 has my favorite album of the century. Favorite, bar none. And it's Drive By Truckers. And this is American Band. This, it's the most powerful album I've ever heard because they take on school shooting, but it's a gorgeous song. Oh my God, it's one of the most beautiful songs. But it's about a guy that's a teacher, and the shooting's going out. And it's a shooting that happened in Oregon. So they took from there. And just he's reflecting of his life, reflecting how he made it through Iraq. And now he's seeing, heaven's knocking at his door because of school shooting. They take on there with thoughts and prayers, shootings again. I mean, everyone says thoughts and prayers, and it goes into all that. And this is political. It's very much so. But what they say is so. I mean, it angers me sometimes, but it's beautifully done. The music is gorgeous, and Drive By Truckers have been around a long time. It's a favorite band of mine, and I like all their albums. But this is the one that I play constant. I mean, constantly, and I'll pull up the YouTube videos to watch them and do it. And just ever South they have talking about South, Filthy and Fried. Yeah, the Guns of Umpqua is about the school shooting. Gorgeous. Raman Cassiano. There's one about the one down in Florida where the young African American guy was shot because they thought he was trying to steal, and all he had was Skittles in his pocket. They tackle all this stuff, and the most gorgeous album. So yeah, this is my favorite of the century by far. So that's 2016. So that brings me, I'm trying to get my years right here, to the 2014 Rival Sons. I bought this from you at your store. Rival Sons is one of the greatest hard rock bands right now of this century. These guys, they just rock. And this starts with Electric Man, and it just blows your hair. It is so hard rocking. I mean, they just come out and he just tears it up. Their singer, he can go high with his voice. And, I'm not always big into that, but he does it in such a great way. There's a few kind of mid-tempo songs, but I like it when these guys just rip it up and let it go. And the guitars are loud and just nasty. They're
That's
just
fun.
so good. Yeah, this is a fantastic album.
I've got one from 14 also.
You
But
bet.
it's really kind of 2000s ish all the way through. We talked about this mellowing out before, and that's
on my list.
Beck with Morning Phase. Did you have it on your list for today too? Or?
Not today, but on my top 25, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I won't rehash a whole lot, but pretty much any Beck that you get from within the early to mid 2000s and into the 2000 teens is going to be decent stuff. But Morning Phase, as we talked about a couple weeks ago in the Mellow Out, is a standout for me simply because it's just a beautiful album.
It is.
Now,
Absolutely.
I don't have anything until the year 2000 now. This is like I blanked out for a decade plus here.
All right, well, we'll take care of this then. From 2012, this is Beach House, and the name of the album is Bloom from Beach House. Probably one of the greatest dream pop albums ever made. If you never listened to dream pop or you love dream pop, this is one that should be in the collection. It is gorgeous sounding. It is what dream pop's about, the lushness, the quietness of the music, yet there's a drone happening and going on. Beach House is known for being great at dream pop. This to me is the best of Beach House. And I was a little late coming into this group, but once I listened to one of their albums, big fan and really like them.
Very cool.
And I have an air one from 2012, uh, Max Richter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think we went through this one before. This is Vivaldi, The Four Seasons, where he reimagines the Four Seasons. And it's again, Max Richter is a favorite of the neoclassical composers that are out there. Does so many soundtracks, tons of soundtrack work. But this, when he took Vivaldi and made it his own, and it's just beautiful with all the synths and stuff that he uses and the violins. Really enjoy that one.
The Max Richter stuff, since our episode on mellowing out a few weeks back, I've had a copy of Sleep on back order from one of our
Okay.
places to try to get a hold of. So you're a bad
Now you
influence
may,
on me once in a while.
yeah, I hope you don't fall asleep when you listen. You're like, oh, that's so relaxing. That's almost made my top. 2007, Tanarin, African blues. This is North African blues. Kind of before Madhu Makhtar took off, there was Tanarin, and they're still out there doing it. This is Aman Iman. For me, one of their very, very best albums. That I have quite a few from Tanarin, but this is to me is the best one out of 2007. And they're out of Libya, refugees living in refugee camps, but they got heard, and I think they're in California now. They're just they've toured the world with this North African music. A lot of it gets political. It's done in Terang. A lot of their lyrics, you don't know what the hell they're saying, but it doesn't matter. The guitar work is just out of this world good. Like Madhu Makhtar would be.
Yep.
So I really exciting album by them, but pretty much any other stuff is going to be very, very good. Okay, moving on down 2006, because I'm Prague. I've always been about Prague.
Yeah, always.
It's the Decemberists, Crane's wife, and this is the story. It's a Japanese fable. I believe it's Japanese, about Crane's wife, and I can't remember how the whole thing goes. I'll have to research it again. I bought this CD when it came out, and I could not put the dang thing down. It definitely is very much Prague. It follows the storyline through about this couple, I believe, trying to have a kid or something, and something about some crazy crane. I have from my original when I originally had this, but beautiful stuff. I like the Decemberists okay to me, but I haven't had any of their other music that has touched me like this one did. It's just one of those albums that after I listen to, I go, wow, that is just the most amazing thing. Crane Wife is great. There's a Yankee Baronet When I Come Home. I don't know. It's hard to. Shankill Butchers. Incredibly beautiful, cool album, different. So yeah, that's my Prague album. Okay, then 2004, Coldplay.
Oh, there you go.
God, I love this album so much. I like Coldplay, but I kind of stopped Coldplay after Viva, whatever. They have new albums out. I haven't really touched anymore. They can't top this to me. And what I forget what you even call it. A Rush of Blood to the Head, hit after hit. I mean, this thing's like a greatest hits. It has politics on here, scientists, clocks on here. There's a Rush of Blood to the Head. Just an amazingly beautiful album. They put it all together, and they just came out to me with their masterpiece. A lot of people don't like it because it was so commercial. It was everywhere. But the fact is, it was everywhere because it was great. It's just kind of funny how that works.
Side note to that, with all of the press Coldplay's been getting over the past couple of weeks, they had there's a bunch of Coldplay reissues. I think that's in that repressings coming in the next week or so. They just showed up in our
Yes, sir.
distributor. So, I mean, we're talking at least 4 or 5 different of their albums. And I don't know if
Wow.
they were planned, and that whole concert thing with the CEO getting caught had anything to do
Yeah.
with it. They probably could have been planned and pressed months ago, and it's just kind of fortuitous that they're coming out as that controversy happened. But cool.
My last was 2003.
Okay.
And um, if you were counting, it's actually 11 that I'm showing. Air, walkie talkie. And I big fan of Air. And this one had Cherry Blossom Girl on here, Surfing on a Rocket, and Alone in Kyoto, which was on that Bill Murray movie that he did when Bill Murray was in Japan.
Lost in Translation.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lost in Translation. Beautiful. These guys know how to make beautiful music. Really neat
Yeah.
stuff that seems timeless. Moon Safaris. They're
Yeah.
out touring right now, playing the whole Moon Safari album. They're coming to Red Rocks, I believe, in October. So I've debated on getting tickets because I'd like to hear that. So between Walkie Talkie and Moon Safari, those by far are my two favorite albums by these guys. And this was just a recently add onto my list last night of top 25. So I had to yank something else off. And here you go. I listened to this thing more than I'd listened to that. So this has to go. And yeah, three gorgeous songs. I mean, the whole album's great.
The ever
So
shifting
there.
sands of time. I've got
Oh
one
my
more. I've
God,
got one more
stuff.
left. One more left
Yeah.
in this quarter century, the 25 years of the year 2000s, and this goes back to 2001 release. I didn't really get into these guys until probably about 5 years ago, as I really started picking up and digging through a Detroit, Michigan band. And this thing is just the coolest album you could ever think to
Mm,
kick the new millennium off. The Dirt Bombs and Ultra Glide in Black. They've got a few other albums.
yep.
They're tougher to get occasionally because they haven't been repressed a lot on a few of these. So it took me a while to find this one. I can get them occasionally through our distributors, but smaller labels. This is from In the Red Records from 2001. But this is Detroit garage rock with a side of funk and rhythm and
Yeah.
blues kicked into it at the same time. A lot of the Dirt Bomb albums, not always, but most of them have kind of a theme to them. Think like Beck with his different themes through the albums. You get kind of this garage soul. They've got one that's almost a disco-y one. They've got one that's kind of a tribute to the bubblegum pop of the Archies and the like.
Mhm.
But Ultra Glide in Black is by far, I think, the best work these guys have done, and it just absolutely rocks. It kicks it out. I think there's a couple of covers on here as well. I have to go back and look, see, but it's just some great stuff. And again, I'm hoping that these are in Spotify so I can share them with everybody. If you've not had a chance to hear this, I strongly recommend it. But that was a great way to go. And I wish I'd found that in 2001 because I could have been enjoying it all that much more
Yeah.
longer than picking it up in probably 2017, I think, and 18 is when I
Mhm.
finally got into it. Before I found one, it may have been earlier. I think probably 2015. I think I found that on a record store day trip before we opened the store. I just picked it up somewhere.
It's that's one of those I need to bring back into my collection as I had it. I had yeah, it is really incredible. I have a couple other albums from them, but that is the definitive one by that group, as far as I'm
Absolutely
concerned.
agreed. So,
Yeah,
in the span of 54 minutes or so, Steve, we have covered 25 years of music that we don't dig to very often on the program. Obviously, we
yeah,
play that stuff individually, but yeah, it's not
hmm
something that we talk about because we tend to skew a little bit older into the 60s
yeah,
and 70s and 80s most of the time. But this has given me a chance to go back and think, okay, there has been a lot of great music over the past 25 years. Whether I like the fact that the century is moving as quickly as it seems to be is irrelevant, but it makes it a little bit easier to know that we've got some decent spins to carry through with it.
yeah, yeah. The older we get, the faster that century goes, and it has been. There is so much really great music, and as I've been doing this, it's been kind of like a labor of love, but so incredibly difficult to
Yeah.
pick these my favorite albums and switching them. And I know I'm missing stuff, but you know what? I just have to be done. So, when I post this, I mean, there's just some stuff that's just totally out there, totally weird that a lot of folks might not know, but it's great stuff. And uh, I just keep finding more and more and more good music all the time.
I think part of the problem with the difficulty of putting together a list like this, what we've each done with these albums, is the fact that it's only got 25 years, or in some cases a lot less, maybe 10 or 5 years to make an imprint upon us. Whereas you've
Mhm.
got the stuff that we've been listening to since the 80s and 70s that has had that much more time to ingrain itself into our psyche, if you will, listening over and over again, or being a part of culture as we were coming of age. So I think those songs tend to be a little bit more memorable and stick with us, those albums, those artists. Who's to say that a lot of these won't, given the fact that hopefully we can make it another 25 plus, make it to that
Yeah.
2050 mark. We're on the downhill
Well,
side there.
exactly. Well, I always look at albums, yeah, between when we're like ages 18 to say 22 or whatever. And some of that music is what just is ingrained because we are going from childhood to
Yep.
adulthood, and that's the music of our life.
Yep.
And that's what it becomes. And so a lot of our viewers, similar age or whatever, that we all relate to it. We go, yeah, that's great. This stuff, a lot of times people won't relate, but if you pick it up and you listen to it, you go, damn, that's really, really good. Need to look into it.
An open mind. And like I said at the start of this, we're now closer to 2050 than we were on that New Year's Eve of 2020. So
Yeah, it's nice that you bring.
here's
Thanks
hoping
for
that we
bringing that
can.
up.
Yeah, you're welcome. But here's hoping that we can each ride that the next 25 and still come up with some decent music between now and then, right?
Yeah. Well, in 2050, when we do our favorite albums of the first half century, we'll have to dig a little more. We'll see. Folks, feel free to tune back in to see if any of these will still be make on our 2015.
Okay.
We'll be in rocking chairs. I'll be in some nursing home somewhere, but we'll still be doing this. So don't worry.
We'll have our AI avatars carrying it through with our consciousness carrying through.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be 91. No, yeah,
Oh,
91. Hey,
there you
okay.
go. You'll make it, man. You'll be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun regardless. So, okay, folks, is there anything that we missed over the past 25 years that you feel is worthy of inclusion into, hey, that this is the best music of the 21st century? I didn't even get into my joke about King Crimson with the 21st century schizoid spin, or the Steve Miller Band. I've got a Living in the 21st Century album, or 20th century. I'd have to think of what that was now. But if there's something we missed, please let us know. I think I'm rambling, Steve. Maybe it's the
No.
age getting to me.
Yeah, feel free to tell us that no, we did not have Taylor Swift and we just are idiots because of it. It's
Yeah.
okay. Go ahead and tell us that.
Or
That's all
or
right.
Beyonce, just not on my playlist from the past 25 years.
Yeah.
Sorry, but not sorry. All right. So until next time, you folks have been listening and or watching to Two Guys Talking About Records, a vinyl community podcast. Make sure you check out the Steve's channel on YouTube. Sorry, his vinyl community channel, and look for the playlist that we put up of all of the music in the descriptions on both YouTube and the Spotify side of things. So until next week, I'm Jim, and I own a record store.
And I'm Steve, a record collector.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good week.
Hey, you too. And bye, everyone.